Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Tarot by Hilary Live. I am your hostess with the mostest, Hilary of tarotbyhilary.com, professional tarot reader and EFT tapping practitioner, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friends, don't argue with me. You have intuition. I firmly believe that everybody has intuition, and you, my friend, are no exception to that rule. Tonight's episode, I was thinking maybe we would check in with the Pulp Tarot that we did an unboxing for last week's episode and do the card of the day on here because I hadn't gotten around to doing it today. So checking in with the Pulp Tarot, which is this month's deck of the month for card of the day polls. Maybe do a little bit of tapping and also let's talk about what it takes to become a professional tarot reader, because that is the subject of this week's podcast episode, which I have not put up yet onto my podcasting platform or made it available on podcasting platforms such as Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, etc. But I have made it available on the tube of you for the video episode. So if you just can't wait and you want to get into that episode right now, don't right now, because then you're going to miss the live stream. But after the live stream, if you just can't wait, you can check that out on my Tube of You channel. I believe it's episode 36 of the Tarot by Hilary podcast. But we'll talk a little bit about what it takes to become a professional tarot reader in this episode as well. As usual, the fixtures of the regular Friday night live stream is here, including the AstroBiz Digest. I see that Sophia is here, and I know that you're raring and ready to go for the AstroBiz Digest, especially for what happened yesterday. Like what was going on astrologically yesterday. I saw that you tagged me on the gram of Insta. We'll talk about it. I will look and we will see together what was going on this week astrologically, and also get into it for today, tomorrow, and Sunday. Then in the middle of the episode, we'll do the mid-episode reading, in which a lucky viewer like you could be entered into the contest to win this week's mid-episode reading live on the episode, 3-card reading. And then at the end of the episode, we do the weekend forecast, which is either a pulled tarot card or oracle card to get you prepared, not scared for the weekend. So if that sounds good to everybody, let me know, and check out our evergreen intro in the meantime. All right. We are back. I realized that I haven't done the updated overlay for this week's episode, but I did see that there have been new overlays added. Those are cute. That's nice. Let's see. Let's see what this one is. I mean, I do like this one. This was one of my first attempts. Oh, no. That's better. But my logo is blocked out if I try and do anything there. So let's change that to something else, shall we? All right. Let's go with this one, because I know people love the stars. So let's stick with that one for now. All right. So I didn't realize that when I was walking home, but it is really, really warm. And I just felt like I went to like reach up to touch like my hair to adjust it. And I'm just like, why is that wet? Was that from my shower? And it's just like, no, it's me. It's sweaty. It's gross. And I fully want to take my water bottle and just dump it over my head right now. That is how warm it is right now. Hold on. Oh. But there is a thermometer widget on here, but you would have to adjust the temperature to whatever temperature it actually is. It doesn't automatically detect the temperature. So but it is warm. I've got my 2 water bottles back here. The one that I took with for my walk, and the one that I usually leave here on the nightstand. Ooh, I need some lip gloss. Oh, good. Thank you, Katie, for checking on the Tube of You, and also the Book of Face. And hello to you as well. I know. I put that up for you, Katie. I know that you're a big fan of the stars. All right. Let's see here. Just a reminder to everyone that we do this every Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And let me see here. Let me make sure that I've got the crawler going for the mid-episode reading. But yeah, how is everybody doing this week? This should be the final week of Mercury retrograde. I believe Mercury goes direct this weekend. I'm not sure if it's Saturday or Sunday, but it'll probably be in the AstroBiz Digest that we're going to take a look at in a few minutes. Like, I think whatever's been going on, like I know Sophia tagged me before about like, I'm gonna need to know what's going on with the AstroBiz Digest. I can probably safely say that it has something to do with Mercury still being retrograde, at the very least, if not a combination of that and other things. So all right. And I'm going to try and keep this. I know I end up jinxing myself a lot when I say we're going to try and keep this episode short, but I'm going to need to because my allergies have just been kicking my butt. And so I don't know how long my voice is going to be able to hang with this, or how long my nose is going to be able to hang with this. So, yep. Katie's saying, finally, my laptop said, hello, Mercury retrograde, but it recovered with a little bit of effort. That's good. And I would also recommend, like, if you have a little bit of clear quartz or clear quartz points, keep it on your desk or near your laptop, or put it right next to your laptop or on your laptop as you're working. It might help to ease things along a little bit. In fact, why am I not doing that? My clear quartz is clear on the other side of the room right now, but I usually have it close to hand when I'm doing any writing or, doing my live stream. So just in case of tech glitches or what have you. Yeah, I've got some stones over here though. All right, I've got a little piece of lapis, so I'm going to put it on my laptop right now in solidarity and also as a offering to Mercury, who is very handsome and strong and awesome and clever and everything, because that's another thing that you can do to ease your Mercury retrograde along, is to just be shamelessly fawning over Mercury. That really does help to ease things too. Yeah, do as I say, not as Don't do as I do. Well, I try to walk the talk whenever possible, but you know, sometimes you have your clear quartz on the other side of the room and you got to make do with a lapis. What can you do, right? All right, let's take a look at the AstroBiz Digest, shall we? So the AstroBiz Digest is $99 for a year-long subscription, and it is Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Ladies, subscription for astrology in layman's terms, straight to your inbox. It is geared towards entrepreneurs and business owners, but I found it to be very helpful in, scheduling out my personal life too. So don't sleep on the AstroBiz Digest. It can be very helpful to you, even if you don't consider yourself a business owner or an entrepreneur. See, and Sophia saying lapis is great. Love a lapis. We stand a good lapis here at the Tarot by Hilary Livestream. So that's the link right there if you want to go and purchase a copy of the AstroBiz Digest for yourself, thetarotlady.com/AstroBiz Digest. And yeah, check that out. But first, let's go ahead and check out the transits that are happening over this week. First and foremost, let's see. All right. So, first off, yes, Mercury retrograde is still going on, and apparently for Teresa and a bunch of us, last week was the Mercury retrograde week from hell. Tech glitches, social media madness, imposters, and all sorts of communication hiccups. That was Teresa's world. If you felt like the cosmos conspired against you, I have great news. Mercury will be direct on Sunday. Once that happens, relief will set in. It will still take a few days before life starts to function at a normal pace, but even so, this turn of astro events bodes well for the rest of the summer. Travel, communication, and technology will begin to improve next week. It's also safe to sign contracts. Most importantly, we can breathe again. Yep, the clusterfuck of constant interruptions eases up, and suddenly there's breathing room in the schedule. So that is I think the singular transit that is going on this week. It is Mercury retrograde. All right, are we ready for the specifics of Friday and Saturday and Sunday? Give me a hell yeah in the chat if so. And I'm going to hydrate, and I'm just going to keep on hydrating and keep on hydrating and keep on hydrating. Drink your water. It's the rule. Drink your water if you're doing a lot of tarot readings, if you're receiving a tarot reading, if you're doing a tapping session, if you're receiving a tapping session, drink your water, stay hydrated. That is the rule of thumb. All right, so Sophia is saying hell yeah to the AstroBiz Digest and hydrate or dihydrate. Yes, exactly. All right. So Friday, today, May 12th, Mercury sextile Saturn at 4:42 a.m. Eastern Standard Time makes this day superb for meetings, writing, and sending out newsletters. But you'll want to refrain from doing anything between the hours of 6:12 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Two gnarly aspects bring tension, difficult people, and stubborn vibes, none conducive for business or peace of mind. Once that energy eases up, you're free to rock the day. The best spot for marketing or sending out a newsletter is the Mercury-Venus sextile at 10:44 p.m. Treat it like a love letter to your audience, and you'll get plenty of love back. I'm going to keep that in mind because I still haven't sent out my newsletter for this month. So maybe newsletter subscribers, take note, you might be getting your newsletter late tonight during the Mercury-Venus sextile. Pipe down when the moon settles into Jupiter and stations void at 11:15 p.m. So that's actually a pretty tight window there. There's no need to do anymore. You've done enough. So today, Friday, May 12th, is a power day for Aquarius and a weak day for Leo. All right, let's get into Saturday and Sunday. The moon will be in Pisces all weekend, making these fantastic 2 days for creative work. However, you might find it's better for self-care and rest. Venus is trine Saturn beginning at 2:57 a.m., an excellent aspect for pampering and primping. If you want to tap into your muse, it helps with that too. If you insist on working, Saturday's best spot starts at 10:44 a.m. when the moon sextiles Mercury and moves into conjunction with Saturn shortly after. Use this time to write content, update your marketing, and pop out a newsletter. Or I might pop out the newsletter then. I'll have to see how I feel. The moon Venus trine at 11:51 a.m. is fab for client care or making the rest of the day about you or romance or self-love. Sunday is Mother's Day in the United States. If you want to offer up a special, the best time is the moon Uranus sextile at 9:22 a.m. Let the public know what you're selling for the moms out there, and then let the rest of the day be for chilling. At 11:17 p.m., Mercury will station direct, and all the world's problems will end. Kidding! Things will improve in communication, technology, and travel, but people are still people. I mean, isn't that a Depeche Mode song? People are people. Both days are power days for Pisces and weak days for Virgo. So it's interesting. I'm actually going to add on here. Now, normally I won't give away, like the tarot card of the week because I don't want to tell you everything from the astro-weather for the week, because then what's the point of you purchasing the Astro Biz Digest for yourself? I'm encouraging you to check out Teresa Reed's work after hearing a little bit about it through the portion of it I say on the live streams here, but I don't want to give away the farm because that would not be cool. However, based on the conversations that I've had with people over the last few days, the tarot card of the week in the Astro Biz Digest for this week is actually pretty meaningful to me, especially after a conversation I just had with someone the early afternoon about public versus private persona, and how sometimes you have to put on this larger than life persona if you are in business, or if you're an entrepreneur, or if you're an influencer, or if you're in the public eye and you're conducting your business. And certainly these are some themes that I've been working with, when doing my tapping, and also for my tapping business, or my EFT tapping business. And how, it's not necessarily that I'm putting on a persona that's inauthentic to me, but it's more like I'm turning up the volume on certain aspects of my personality as I need to be able to be an effective and a confident businesswoman. So the reason why I'm saying that is because I'm going to tell you what the tarot card of the week is from the Astro Biz Digest for this week. And it is the Hermit card. So the Hermit, or at least Teresa's interpretation of the Hermit as it stands for this week, is about finding the balance between being a public figure with a private life. Make time for rest, research, and reflection. You don't need to be on all the time. When it comes to running a business, it's too easy to get sucked into it 24/7. You're not a convenience store. Remember that. Nothing is urgent or mandatory except your happiness. But that first part there, finding the balance between being a public figure with a private life, I mean, I had these deep conversations when I was graduating from DDM in Vegas last year about, fame and what people want. And it's just would you rather be famous, or would you rather be rich? Or would you I asked the question, well, why not both? And why is it that we assume that famous people have to trade their privacy in order to keep their fame? There are plenty of examples of famous people that are notoriously private, or don't take pictures of their kids, or put them put their kids up on their like social media, or have like fenced in palatial mansions where you have no idea what the inside of their houses look like. So it can be about fame on your terms, business on your terms. And just because you're a public figure does not mean that anyone has the right to your information or to know everything about you. Like, you get to choose, is basically what I'm getting from that hermit card. Make sense? I need more tissues. So, Sophia's saying yes. So at this time, now that I've covered Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and the fact like the Mercury retrograde is like the big aspect that's going on this week, but it goes direct on Sunday. I mean, Mercury retrograde shadow period is still a thing. So just because it goes direct on Sunday doesn't mean that it's smooth sailing immediately. Sometimes the shadow period can end up being worse than the retrograde period itself. So just go slowly. Try not to step on the accelerator and skid out. you know um so once I've done the specifics of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'd like to open up the floor and ask people which day you were having issues with, or which day was particularly good, bad, whatever. And do you want to know what the astrology was for that particular day to be able to understand that day's energy a little bit better? Now, I know that Sophia had a request, but I want to make sure that I'm getting it right. So, Sophia, was it Thursday that you wanted to take a look at? All right. Yes. Yep. Thursday was shit from start to finish. Okay. In no uncertain terms. All right. Let's take a look at Thursday. Okay. Gnarly square between the moon and Mercury at 8:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Other than that, the day was clear. Ideal for Aquarian activities of gatherings, community building activities, team meetings, and innovation. If you start your day 2 hours after that square, you should sail through Thursday like a captain. But if you didn't, it might have been gnarly. And Thursday was a power day for an Aquarius and a weak day for Leo. Could also have something to do as well with, on Wednesday, there was a Moon Mars opposition, combative, competitive vibe in the afternoon. And then Moon squared Jupiter and stationed void at 7:52 p.m. on Wednesday. And then the moon went into Aquarius at 10:05 p.m. Does that line up a little bit with what you were talking about for Thursday? I mean, sometimes we can't, fully avoid those particular aspects, like if you happen to start your day before, what was it? If you start your day 2 hours after that square, so that would be 9:45, 10:45 a.m. But some of us don't have that luxury to start our day at 10:45 a.m. on a Thursday. So I see. It might have been just shit. It was an interpersonal shit show. Well, I mean, that sounds about right for Moon and Mercury, because the moon can be sometimes about how we communicate or how we express ourselves. especially if you happen have a certain sign in your moon in a certain sign that could indicate that. And then Mercury affects travel, communication, and technology. So it can be related to that. It'll be fine, but yikes, did it feel bad like in the moment? I'm sure. All right. Anybody else? Any other questions about the week besides the usual Mercury retrograde shenanigans? Whew, it's warm. I took a shower and it did not do a darn bit of good. I took a cold shower and it didn't do a darn bit of good. I feel like I need to go in the shower again. All right. So the agenda for tonight's episode, first of all, so we did the AstroBiz Digest, we did the astrology for this week, especially Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We know that Mercury is going direct on Sunday, so yay, hooray! Toot your horn, throw up the glitter and confetti. Mercury is direct again. But I also wanted to pull a card from the Pulp Tarot. Definitely put it up on social media. Maybe do a little bit of tapping, depending on what you guys want to tap on or need to tap on. And then talk a little bit about the podcast episode that I'm producing for launch today. Now, I did say that I was working on it last week, but then I just needed to go to sleep for a couple of days. I did have the weekend off, and it was good that I had the weekend off, but it was definitely like my body was just like, okay, you sleep now. When you have that happen where it's just like, oh yay, a few days off. That means I'm gonna get a ton of stuff done. And then you end up, your body's just like, nope, you are gonna rest. You're gonna rest. And you're gonna keep on resting. And then you're gonna rest some more. And it's still not gonna feel like enough. That's what happened. Awesome. So, the newest episode is delayed by another week. But what's another week when, what's another week between friends? It's not that I'm going anywhere. It's not that the podcast is going anywhere. It's just, a little bit behind. More time for you to catch up on episodes. And also, we have a new episode of the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast with a special guest, Nancy Hendrickson, talking all about her book, Ancestral Grimoire and Ancestral... I think it's Ancestral Grimoire and Ancestral Tarot. And of course, I do not have a copy of that over here. Again. And if you heard that, that was my shower curtain falling. Honey! That was loud. I'm glad it didn't fall when I was actually in the shower. Yes. Can you do something about it? Can you move it, please? Instead of just looking, nodding, and walking away? I'm not saying to put it back up again. I'm just saying... Yeah, so Faye is saying you're correct. Tarot and Grimoire. Thank you. Got distracted by the shower rod. So that is that episode is really, really great. And the Tarot Grimoire, or the Ancestral Grimoire, is it's almost like it's a book, but it's also a workbook. And I would really recommend starting it and working through the exercises over the course of a year. It doesn't necessarily mean that you start with the secular year, but I would recommend starting with the secular year because that is how the book is structured. And one exercise builds on the next exercise, builds on the next exercise. And if you'll give me 1 second. And I think that's episode 77. What else was I going to say? There was one really interesting exercise that I did because I got a copy of the book in order to prepare for that episode. And it definitely uses the tarot among other tools to help you connect with your ancestors, basically, and divine, like, maybe what kind of lineage you're descended from, what kind of magic your family may have in the lineage. It was really interesting, and the like certain cards that would come up, especially I think court cards. She like the court cards would signify an ancestor that had that particular type of magic. Like I think like page of page of swords was like air magic or weather magic or something like that. It was like a really, really interesting episode. And I would really encourage you to like sit down with a cup of your favorite tea or beverage. I usually don't say sit down with the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast and take notes, but you may want to take notes on that particular episode. You may want to listen to it several times because there's a lot of really great information in that particular episode. And I would also encourage you to pick up copies of these books by Nancy Hendrickson, Ancestral Tarot and Ancestral Grimoire, because they're really, really fascinating. And again, she is using tarot in a way that I've never seen tarot used before. And I count myself so lucky that I'm able to be in this tarot community with people that are willing to, expand upon tarot as more than just a divination tool, as more than just a fortune telling tool, as more than just you'll meet a tall, dark stranger. Do you know what I mean? It's just really fascinating what she was able to do with tarot. And it is a longer episode. But for this mentor series of episodes that we've been doing, we had Teresa Reed on one episode, and then we had Nancy on this episode, and we're still looking into doing more episodes with mentors, especially in light of Rachel Pollack passing. Like this was part of the reason why we started to do this series of episodes on Card Slingers Coast to Coast, was because when we got news of Rachel's illness, basically recurring, we realized, life's short, first of all. And second of all, like, we want to honor the mentors and our elders now, while they're here, while we have a chance to say thank you, while we have a chance to express gratitude and get their work out there to more people so that they can, continue their legacy and also honor their legacy while they're still here, to be able to feel that appreciation and love and gratitude. So check out that episode. I would love to hear your thoughts on that episode. Now, let me pull from the Pulp Tarot. I also want to check in on the Book of Face and the Tube of You. Are you still hearing and seeing me? Because unfortunately, we have a shit stirrer in the comments, and I don't know if their comments are being seen by other people because I had already preemptively blocked this person, so I'm not sure why their comments are showing up in my studio space when I can't see them when I go over to the native platform that I'm looking at. So oh, good. So all good. They are not seen. Awesome. Okay. They're probably, I mean, it's over on the Tube of You, Sophia. So I know you're playing moderator hat. But I know you're playing it over on the Book of Face, not necessarily the Tube of You. And I've already, I think, preemptively blocked this person, but I also thought I banned them from my streams. So the fact that I'm seeing their comments, I'm not sure why that is, but as long as it's only me seeing their comments, then that's fine. It's like, it's not bothering me none. All right, so let's do the card of the day for today from the Pulp Tarot. Well, excellent point, Sophia. Never a dull moment. No, never a dull moment, especially when Mercury is still in Gatorade. All right, what do we need to know for today? Well, that tracks. We are getting the Nine of Wands. Wouldn't you say that tracks? Especially after what I just mentioned. All right, let us go to the guidebook. Okay, here we go. So our card of the day for today is the Nine of Wands. Remember that change promised by the Eight of Wands? It doesn't appear to have been a change for the good. The woman on the Nine of Wands has had her home invaded by an army. Her family and support system is gone, and she's all on her own, wounded and terrified. She's built a makeshift barrier and is lying in wait with her last available weapon. She may very well lose this battle. What she won't do is give up. The important thing to remember is that she's built her barrier with her spiritual staffs, the things she's learned on her spiritual journey, and is armed with a final one. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, oftentimes the Nine of Wands can be the wounded healer card, or at least I like to call that the wounded healer card. It has a very Chiron energy about it. And notice, she might have already had wounds inflicted with the bandage around her head, but she's not letting that stop her. And also sometimes in context of reading for other people, I see the Nine of Wands and I ask them, you know, is there somebody else that you're focusing on right now and focusing on helping them in order to avoid dealing with your own pain or dealing with your own issues? And that's usually the case. So today we want to focus, as I blow my nose, today we want to focus on our own healing and not be distracted from it. And, it's hard. I mean, it's hard to look inward. It's hard to be able to look in the mirror and be like, this is the things that I need. These are the things that I need to heal. These are the things that I need to work on. Because oftentimes we can't see it because we're actively avoiding it because it's hard, because it's painful. And sometimes it's just easier to look at other people and immediately know, oh, you need to fix this or you need to do this. Oh, da, 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 da. And in those instances, especially around the Nine of Wands, I would say, are you doing that to avoid what you should be working on for yourself? And when you're doing that, are you giving advice before you're even asking the person what they need? Instead of asking them, hey, do you need a listening ear, or do you want advice? Do you want me to listen without providing anything, or do you want me to give you advice? And that reframe, it's slight, but it's so powerful because it puts the power back into their court. And it also is more empathetic. It's more of a two-way street there, where it's just like you're still helping them, but you're not actively inserting yourself into their situation. You're not getting down into the hole with them, because then if you get down into the hole with them, like, both of you are going to be stuck, And in this way, you can be more compassionate, you can be more empathetic, but you also have the room to be able to look at yourself and assess yourself and your own issues and be like, oh, yeah, I need to work on that. Does that make sense? If memory serves, in other Nine of Wands, you don't usually see other figures. You only see the one figure. And then it's almost like presumed off the card that someone might be coming, but we have no way of knowing that. In this card, we do have the other people approaching. So it does change the meaning somewhat. And I do like what the little white book, the companion book, has to say about that card. About, like, the battle may be lost, but the final war has not been won yet. All right. Any questions about the card of the day? Any questions about the Pulp Tarot? Do we want to do a little tapping around those concepts? And if so, which part of the card of the day is feeling meaningful for you, or feeling a little bit sticky or a little bit hard, that we can tap on immediately to bring you some relief and release? I'll be back in 1 second. Think about those things. I will be right back. Just going to go ahead and mute. All right. Thank you all for your patience there. I got a message that I needed to check right away. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think Sophia is working on her moderator hat overtime right now. So let me see if I can do anything to assist in that. Okay. Good. Oh, Fran. You didn't miss much. You missed the astro-weather, and we just did card of the day, which is the Nine of Wands. So from the Pulp Tarot, and then I was going to talk a little bit about what it takes to become a professional tarot reader, before moving into the mid-episode reading and the weekend forecast. So pretty much the Astro Biz Digest and a late card of the day. But other than that, nothing else. There was a dueling blog post that I did with Teresa Reed many moons ago, many years ago, about the differences between a full-time tarot reader and a part-time tarot reader. And I was actually going to do a podcast episode on that, but the podcast episode that I'm working on right now devolved into something else, or evolved, shall I say, into something else, which is more answering my mailbag. And one of the questions that I got asked was from a younger reader who had just discovered tarot, and I think they're in their teens, and they were asking, like, what can I do to become a professional tarot reader? So most of that episode that I'm producing right now is on that, what my advice is about that. Yes, Fran. Oh, the Pulp Tarot, that deck that I'm trying to talk myself out of buying. And Sophia says, treat yourself. Treat yourself, Fran. It's a great deck. It is a great deck. I'm liking it so far. Even though you haven't really been seeing a lot of posts on social media about it, I've been liking it so far. It's only that I've been pretty busy. So I'll give the interpretation on social media after this live stream is done. So, oh, good. Fran says, if I buy it, Sophia, I'll blame you. Please blame Sophia for the Pulp Tarot, even though she has nothing to do with it, because that means that I won't be blamed. Oh, Sophia's saying about that's hard. That's hard at that age. The person that asked how to become a professional reader in their teens. I didn't get taken seriously for years due to my age. Upping the Long Island accent helps a little. Yeah, I mean, I had that. Like, that's something I never really considered when I started reading. I mean, yes, I started reading at 16 years old, but I didn't start reading professionally until I was, let's see, 21, 22, maybe. And so that is relatively young, especially when many of the people that would sit down at my table were could be old enough to be my mother or my grandmother sometimes. But it was something that I worried about outside of the reading space, but when I was in the reading space, I never had an issue anymore. Like that kind of anxiety about, oh, I'm just a 21-year-old, like what do I know about heartbreak and loss and grief and karma and dharma and life path and this and marriage and divorce and death and birth. Like I don't know anything about those things because of my age. And the fact of the matter is, when you're in a reading space, none of that matters as much anymore. Like certainly your experiences will color how you read, for sure, but it's almost like that those anxieties were more a part of my ego, or the part of my ego that was speaking, that was trying to keep me safe, rather than anything real, or real anything real to be anxious about. Do you know what I mean? So Sophia's taking the blame for I'm an enabler to the max, especially on tarot decks. Sophia says, I was freshly 20, been reading for years, but exactly that. People feel like they can't trust you. Once I broke the ice, it was fine because it's the cards speaking, not me. Video readings got me by at that age since they couldn't see my face. And honestly, like the people that don't want to be read from a person that seems to be too young or too immature, they're not going to sit down at your table. They're not going to pay you the money. They're going to consider it a waste of their money and not do it. So the people that do sit down at your table, the people that do buy readings from you, most of the time they want to be there. I mean, it's a very few and far between that I've ever had to like refund. And there was one person that I feel like was just jumping from reader to reader and pulling a scam, basically demanding refunds from every reading that she ever gotten. But at that point I was just like, I'll refund you, like I'll pay you to go away. Like you're like, this is not worth it. And I think at that time my rates were so much lower that I was willing to part with the money, that I was willing to give that give that refund very, very easily because I just didn't want to deal with that person anymore, you know? But once I got beyond that, like it was almost like it just didn't matter in the reading space. That sacred space when you're actually performing the reading, like a lot of the anxiousness or worries or fears kind of dissipated. And, especially if the reading went well, if they're just like, you couldn't possibly have known that, or, oh my God, we were just having that exact conversation yesterday. Like, how did you know? And also, like what you said, it's the card speaking, not me. Um, I don't necessarily know if it's the cards. I don't necessarily want to give pieces of paper the power wholly 100%, but at the same time it's something, it's something else that is neither it's me and it's not me. It's the me and the not me that is speaking or giving the reading. Um and it's doing it out of service too. So it's kind of again a little bit of like what I was saying before, where it's just like you're amplifying those parts of your personality in order to create a brand or in order to create a public persona. I think the same thing can be true in a reading space as well. It's where you're like turning up the dial a little bit on those aspects of your personality that make you a good tarot reader or a good psychic. Yeah. After 21, it's much easier in my experience. People seem to trust you more. Makes little sense to me, but I'll take it. Yeah, I mean, some of it is there will still be looky-loos. There'll still be people who are curious but skeptical. There will still be people that is just like, oh, I don't really take stock in this kind of stuff. But the majority of people that will pay for a reading and continue to keep seeing you for readings are the reason to keep going, basically. It's about the service, it's about being in service to those people that need the reading from you and can hear that reading from you when maybe they might have gone to somebody else and not been able to hear it. They may have tried to do it on their own. They may have been hearing that particular message in so many different ways, but it hasn't really been getting through to them until that reading, until you're the reader to give the message, and then it all clicks into place. You just never know. I think that's part of the reason why sometimes I can be very skeptical about tarot, even though I've been doing it for years, only because there are some parts of it that I still can't explain. I can't explain how I know sometimes, like with like, especially if it's like a mediumship reading, like I can't explain how I know, or I can't explain, how I know what the personality of that person is, or what they're saying, or that, or reciting the inside joke that the two of you had. Like there's something about tarot that has both structure and the beauty of mystery to it that still keeps me coming back. So um so I think the podcast episode ran towards more prosaic advice than necessarily that. Like, I didn't really speak to the person based on their age. I more spoke to the person as you asked the question, but this is kind of a frequently asked question. There have been more than that one person that has asked me what it takes to become a professional tarot reader. And also, how do you learn tarot? How do you do this? It's just like, it was kind of like a two-part question without it being a two-part question, because there are two aspects to it. There's the learning of the tarot, and then there is the now I want to read professionally for people. And that's two different things. It's just like, it's one thing to learn tarot, or to teach tarot. It's quite another thing to then, you know, make a business of it, you know? And that's part of the reason why I feel so lucky to have done the Tarot Apprentice, and feel lucky to have mentored or menteed or mentored under Teresa Reed, because, by the time I was her mentee or her or apprentice, I knew tarot and I had been giving readings for years, and I had, I was off book from tarot. So it was never, yes, I learn about tarot through other people. I'm continuing always to learn about tarot every single day. I learn new things about tarot. Um, but at the same time, it's just like, you have to become confident in your tarot reading skills to be completely off book before you even consider the questions of what to charge, how to market yourself, how to blah, 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 um and there are some people that have been reading tarot for years, and it's completely their own spiritual practice, and they do it for themselves and no one else. And sometimes it's a gift that they do for themselves and their family, or themselves and their friends, and they don't consider it, a money making venture, or a hobby, or whatever. It's very much a part of their spirituality, or something that they give or gift to friends. And then there are other people that decide to go the professional route. And I think it's a choice that every tarot reader can and should make. There are people that, collect tarot decks, but don't consider themselves tarot readers, because they simply like the aesthetic beauty of a tarot deck and collect the tarot decks for the art, but they don't read with those tarot decks. And that's fine too. So it is about defining what tarot is for yourself, learning tarot for yourself, and then asking the question, do you want to become a professional reader? And maybe I will end up recording a completely separate episode based on this dueling blog series that I mentioned with Teresa Reed that I wrote many, many years ago. But really quickly, I had this sense of, feeling a little bit like a fraud, because I was working full time somewhere else and doing my tarot readings any other time, basically nights and weekends. And I felt a little bit like a fraud. Honestly, I felt like a fraud that I wasn't doing tarot full time. And the long and short of it is that there are many people that do tarot professionally that accept money for tarot readings that are not full time tarot readers. In fact, it's the majority of people that are part time than full time. Like, Teresa is the exception to the rule, in which she has been a full time tarot reader for over 30 years now. But again, she is the exception. And so there is this sense of, um, myth making, I guess, um, that happens when you are in the metaphysical community. So I used to hide that. I used to hide the fact that I had a full-time job with my tarot clients, and I thought, for some reason, I don't think this now, but I used to think this, I thought it was shameful and somehow unprofessional that I wasn't doing tarot full time and that I was less of a reader for it. All of these things I have learned and tapped on and really thought about and journaled about, and you know really contemplated all of this. Then it would somehow come up in conversation that they or someone they knew were looking for like an editor, and that was my job for a number of years, and I would say, oh, I do that, and then consequently have to explain that tarot was not the main squeeze that I had purported it to be originally. It's easier to be honest up front about my part-time status rather than do an awkward backtracking. um, and I am the norm. I'm the norm among tarot readers. Most tarot readers are not full time. Those that are the rare exception. You've heard myths and glitz. Going full time in tarot looks glamorous, but part time seems easier with less risks. But there's going to be risks with everything too. There's going to be costs associated with it. There's going to be, you know, choices of like health benefits or 401k, or not be able to work the weekends at like a Renaissance fair because an emergency project at the full-time job came up and you need to work the weekend on it. Like, these are all realities, and real situations that happened when I was working at a full-time job. Now I have two part-time jobs. I have my tarot business, and I'm back in retail. But like, either way, like a combination of jobs, it's very normal in this industry. And if that surprises you, or even if it doesn't surprise you, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are or your realizations are about that. The reality is, part-time tarot reading may be less risky than going the whole hog, but it still takes work, and possibly more work than you'd think. Part-time does not mean half-assed. At least it doesn't have to. So like I said before, Teresa is the exception, the rarity in the field. She's a full-time tarot reader. And I'm the rule. Most readers are part-time. And there are connotations that go along with part-time tarot reading, the assumptions that people make about what I do and the reality. And I've heard a lot of speculation about why most tarot readers are part-time. And I felt them myself, such as the myth that part-time readers are cowards, deliberately avoiding the leap to full-time. Again, this is a lot of subconscious stuff that I had to work out over the years. Sometimes going part-time is a calculated decision based on the love of two or more passion careers. And that's how it worked out for me. I loved editing and I loved tarot equally, and there was no way for me to really choose. The reality is, it would be totally easier for me to not do tarot as a business. While I could do tarot as a hobbyist, I feel it would be disrespectful to the high regard I have for the tarot for me to be anything less than a professional about it. And that's why I am a part-time tarot reader. Yeah. Sophia says, multiple streams all the way. Monetize all your hobbies. Never causes burnout ever. See, and that as well. The whole thing about monetizing your passions or monetizing your hobbies, that's another thing too, where it's just like, if I'm not making money from it, I'm not going to do it. Like, that's not great either. And I know you're being sarcastic about it. Like, I understand where you're coming from on that. But it can be hard, for someone that's like a recovering workaholic, where it's just like must do all the things, like even like coloring books. It's just like, what I do something. What do you do? Like, I had to ask myself, and I had to ask other people who are recovering workaholics, what do you do just for you? What do you do just for fun? What do you do to replenish your well or fill your soul that has nothing to do with your income? Because I think it's an American thing. It might be a Western civilization thing, but we really equate our productivity with our worth. We really equate what we do as a job as who we are as a person. And that is dangerous. And it can be very dangerous when things like the pandemic happen and we're not able to work at the job that we identified with, either because we were laid off or we got ill or something happened, and it causes an identity crisis. And that's just one of the things that could happen. So Fran says almost everyone I know has other jobs. One drew a nice retirement from the Air Force. Exactly. Yeah. Sophia says, I never do it on purpose, but 'tis I, the workaholic Virgo. Mm-hmm. And Fran says, I hold the sofa down. Is that your example of like what you do just for funsies? Just to replenish yourself? Uh-huh. So I am still a professional. Yes, you do have to pay me. Yes, you do have to make an appointment. Yes, it does annoy me when people look at me at my reading table and say, how fun. As a part-time tarot reader, I have found that there is an expectation from potential clients that I am on call 24/7, and my policy of no same-day or emergency readings is rarely heeded, even though it is stated very clearly on my website. By the way, that policy of no same-day reading or emergency readings, like that's as much a protection for you and a quality control for you as it is for me. Like, do you do something well if you're in a rush? No, neither do I. And, just because I have that policy of no same day or emergency readings, that hasn't stopped people from asking, "Oh, do you have availability today?" No, I don't, because I don't do same day or emergency readings. I have found that the same expectation carried over to full-time readers for a different reason, because full-time readers set their own schedules. Because I am a part-time reader, my schedule is mercilessly guarded and regulated by me. So at the time that I wrote this, my day job was as an editor, and that had to come first. So all the hours at that office were blocked out. And then second to my day job was my personal life and my husband, my marriage, and whatever was left over was delegated to my tarot business, which is no less of a business than any other with set appointment times. And the same thing is happening now where I work part-time in retail. I have a set schedule there. So the schedule is into my calendar so that it can block out time for my tarot readings. Same thing, part-time, or full-time, part-time. Same thing. What seems like a rigidity, a tight schedule, is actually freedom for me and a weight off of my mind. Not only that, I've noticed this, and I actually said this to our therapist, not this week, but last week, where, if I am in demand, if I am not available, immediately, people think that I'm a better reader because of it. It's just like if my schedule was wide open, like that's usually the time where I'm not getting any bookings at all, because people think that I'm a shit reader because I have wide open availability. No one's booked with her. That means she must be a shit tarot reader. Not so, but this is where other people's perceptions come into play too. Thank you, Sophia, for saying that. There is no such thing as an emergency reading FFS. By the way, FFS is for fuck's sake. Call your damn therapist. Drops mic. And the clapping hands. Yes. All right. So some things aren't really so different from a full-time reader. I still have to pay taxes for my business just like any full-time reader would and should. I know that one aspect of it, people are floored by. They're just like, "Oh, you pay tax." And it's just like, "Yeah, I pay taxes. It's a business. It's a business." I literally just sent out our tax prep fees to our accountant today. A little bit late, sorry, but I paid it because, I had to. But, like you want a good accountant. You don't want to avoid Uncle Sam. You want to be above board as much as possible. This is an excellent question that'll probably have to be a subject for a completely different either podcast episode or live stream episode. How do you go about finding a therapist who doesn't think you're cuckoo? It's an excellent question. Our therapist, who is a licensed therapist and family and marriage counselor, my husband actually found him. Um, and he's pretty great, and it was just luck. It was dumb luck. um because a lot of the time, if you're like a tarot reader or a psychic or a pagan or a witch or a magical person in some way, shape, or form, it can be difficult to find a therapist that aligns with your values, especially if you happen to be a spellcaster or you know psychic or intuitive even. It can, there are some therapists that are so old school that think that that's a sign of mental illness. So, like delusions or hallucinations or visions, you know so it really can be tricky. If anyone has any advice about that, feel free to drop it into the chat. But I can definitely understand, why you would ask that question, because I know a number of people who are in like the pagan community that have had a really rough time finding a therapist because they are pagan, because of their religious beliefs. So, my therapist sees an astrologer regularly. Shopping around helps. Hire millennials. Mm, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good advice. Good advice. Um, so yeah, paying taxes for my business, just like a full-time reader would and should. And yeah, definitely you want to do that. Still have to keep on top of scheduling people. Still have to have the joy and privilege of meeting people, sharing their lives that I wouldn't otherwise get. I still keep confidentiality, and anything said in a reading remains absolutely sacrosanct and private. Like, I say this all the time to my clients. I encourage you to talk about your readings. Talk about your readings. You are allowed to talk about your readings. That's your reading. That's your information. I can't talk about your reading. You can talk about your reading, but I can't talk about your reading. I'll talk about it with you if we are in session, or if call me and are asking about your reading, if I remember. Again, if you've been following me for a while, you know about the thing sacred amnesia that happens, that kicks in about a half an hour after I give a reading to someone. I usually don't remember the reading I gave because that information is not for me, it's for them. It's really, really helpful to be objective when you got that sacred amnesia in place. And also it helps you from going crazy. Speaking about therapy for psychics, right? I would go crazy if I had all of that information in my head. And if you're a card slingers listener, you would know that the high priestess is your fucking filing cabinet. We're not retaining all of that information for you. You have to, we are giving it to you. We might be channeling it through us, but we do not retain it. Thank goodness. In many ways, my life is not so different from a full-time reader's once you have me across the table from you. The upside of having a full-time job, other than tarot, is that there's no worry about health insurance and retirement. Those things are taken care of by that company that I work for or worked for. That's not the case now, but I do have health insurance through my husband, but I don't have a 401k anymore, but I do have health insurance. So these are things that you do have to think about for yourself. I don't have to worry quite so much during lean times when people aren't as keen on getting a tarot reading. Like there are peaks and valleys sometimes where a lot of people you might be very in demand one month and you might be really quiet in another month. And that can be very scary. And that might be the reason why you would keep a full-time job, to supplement you in those times where you're not as busy or you're not in a busy reading season, because then you would have the salary of the full-time job to depend upon. The other side of the coin is the impetus to promote myself in my tarot business is entirely on me. I do not have the hunger that would drive a full-time tarot reader to keep putting themselves out there. See what I mean? Ironically, I do still have that hunger regardless that drives me to do many of the things a full-time reader would do to promote themselves, such as give interviews, write the blog that I'm talking about, do the live stream that you're watching right now, reading at events, unabashedly hand out my business cards to people, do speaking events. I think I'm booked to speak at a library in July. I'm really excited about that. I actually have to get back to that person because write a tarot book. Have you purchased how to read tarot yet? But here are some more reality checks about part-time tarot reading. You do still have to pay taxes. This may depend on the threshold of money you make in your tarot business that takes you over the line between hobbyist and professional. Truly, I don't know what that number is. But don't mess around with it. Just talk to an accountant and file your taxes accordingly. You're like, an accountant will know. Like, I would not fudge it. I would not guess at it. Talk to an accountant. Seriously. You do still have to promote yourself. That fact will never change. There will be times when you have to make the choice between your full-time gig or your other part-time gig and your part-time gig. Spoiler alert, if you are doing a job full-time, the full-time gig will usually win out. It's the reason why it's the full-time gig. You will have to navigate the rough waters of being approached by coworkers from your full-time gig wanting a reading. And sometimes you'll have to have them visibly balk when you tell them your rates. I'm not joking with you. I remember that happening so well. Someone approached me in the bathroom at my old job and asked me, and like her eyes literally bugged out when she heard what my rate was. And my rate is really not that bad compared to some. So, it's hard sometimes. Another reality check: tarot conferences, decks, travel, and the like all still cost money. You may be using money earned from your full-time gig to pay for your part-time tarot, and you have to make sure that what you're spending doesn't outweigh your income coming in. Again, this circles back to taxes. Keep your expenses and income in order so that you have plenty of documentation when tax time comes around. And also to look for yourself to see if this is worth it to you. It may not be. And in conclusion, being a part-time tarot reader is a tricky balancing act, juggling a full-time job, a full-time marriage, and the tarot world and its joys and pitfalls simultaneously. Is it worth it to me? Of course it is. I wouldn't trade it for the world. However, that golden rule that Teresa taught me years ago still applies. Treat your business like a business, even if it's a part-time one. And I'm happy to send the link to that article to people. And that also should have links to Teresa's article about working full time too. Yeah, exactly, Fran. HIPAA for readers. Mm-hmm. That disclaimer thing, that entertainment purposes only disclaimer, that's protection all around for you, for me, for the people I read for the people that I will read for, because I don't do I believe it's for entertainment purposes only? Like, not altogether. I mean, getting a tarot reading can be fun, sure. Um, but that's not the only reason that I do it. And that's certainly not the only reason why people purchase a tarot reading with me, but that disclaimer, it's really, really helpful. And also, like, I sleep well at night knowing that I'm not one of those people that is, you know, scamming people. Like, that's why I got really mad before. I don't know if you noticed the look on my face. Fortunately, I don't think any of you were able to see the comments, but I saw the comments on this person and saying like that basically they were just like, don't listen to this person. She's here to scam people. And it's just like, if you followed me at all for any amount of time, like, you would know that is not me, and I am not asking you to have me light a candle for you for thousands and thousands of dollars to get rid of a curse that I sense you have. Like, that's not my jam. And like, how do you sleep at night? I sleep very well, thank you, because I hold my business in integrity, and I would never do that. So, like, notice how, I'm not sitting on a defendant's table right now, being accused of scamming people out of millions and millions of dollars, because I haven't, because I don't, because that is not my way and that's not my business, you know? So, but madame, I want my limited edition $5,000 Hilary Bless candle. Some of you are really tweaked, but I love it. And I love it. Um, yeah, I wouldn't even like, I would just hand the money back. Like, I would be like, I don't know what, here. It's like, here, take the money back, like, and I'm very honest, like, again, about, like, I've said this so many times on the live stream. I'm sure you're all sick of me saying this. It's just like managing expectations up front before anyone sits at your table, the proverbial table, the Zoom reading, the email reading, whatever. Managing expectations before you're even in the reading space is so, so important for this exact reading. Reading reason, because then no one can say, you can feel good about saying or knowing that you said, and you can either say it verbally, say it in writing, do both, put it up on your website, and it's just like, here's what I can do for you, here's what I can't do for you, and being very clear about that before anyone even books. Fran says, how do I sleep soundly with the fan on high and under the covers? Exactly. Yes. See, Sophia. Well, I mean, like, Sophia, you're menteeing with me for a reason. I would also be violently uncomfy. Yes, because it is violently uncomfy, because that is out of integrity. Like, that is not an ethical thing to do. Like, I'm actually getting like ickiness right now even talking about it, because it makes me so uncomfortable. Okay, no fan. Or is it no covers? Or is it no clothes? Ooh. How do you sleep at night? Very well, thank you. On my side, slightly tilted up. Like, here's my pillow over here. Like, what do you mean? How do I sleep at night? Like, I sleep pretty well, thank you. Um, and even if I didn't, I would like tap on it and then go back to bed. Exactly. Yeah, and that was another portion of it too. I did talk a little bit about that in the episode. I swear it's going up tonight. It's going up tonight. I am so serious about that. Like, it's getting published tonight. I'm like in the middle of listening to the audio version. I think I'm around like minute 26 or so. Because I always want to edit the audio before I make it into a podcast episode. I want to like treat it with a little bit of professionalism and grace. But I said that in the episode about bartering. So Sophia is saying if I could afford to be paid only in coffee and treats, I would. But like, that's not the reality of the situation in the world. And I think the example that I gave was just like, there's only so many massages that I can bank. Like there's a lot of people that I would do barter with, and eventually, you know, it's just like, how many massages can I have in one day even, you know? And it's just like, and also massages can't pay my phone bill or my, or you know, the electricity bill, or you know, it's just like, please give me money in exchange for reading, so then I can take that money and then I can put it towards my bills, or this, or maybe a new deck that I'll use with you next time, or this or that, or you know. And sometimes it can be fine where it's just like, oh, you know, buy me a coffee and I'll give you a reading, or oh, you know, we'll go out to dinner and you know, pay the tip, or you know, pay for dessert or something, you know. And I used to barter all the time, but it's just like, at the in the end, there was only so many useful things. And it's just like, you know, like there's a stack of like IOUs or coupons or whatever this high, and it's just like, but I have bills to pay, you know. It doesn't work. So I did talk a little bit about that on the episode. Exactly. And Sophia's gotta move in the fall too. Cost of living in NYC and in London is too damn high for that ish. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, which minute am I on? Let's see. Yeah, it's episode 36 from the mailbag. How do I become a professional tarot reader? Let me see if I can pull up some of it right now. Share. How have you been liking the video episodes of the podcast? Have you known that I've been doing that? That's another question. Sophia says, I got the apartment, by the way, very exciting, but gotta pack all my decks. Yeah, that's gonna be the next step, right? Which decks do I bring to London with me? Oh my god. All right, let's see here. If you guys could give me good energy for this weekend, specifically on Sunday morning, we're looking at an apartment. So I would appreciate that same love and support. Let's see. That I can hide. other tarot readers that I do the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast with. So you can check that out wherever you subscribe to your podcasts. Really good information in there too. That would be another resource that I would recommend, is listening to that podcast. Multiple tarot cards in a spread combined to form a complete tarot reading. Your mission in that, I wish I could bottle that moment. Oh, this is a good point.
I'm a professional tarot reader. And I still read tarot. I read tarot professionally. I read tarot personally. But what tarot has given me has been more than just knowing how to read the cards, knowing, like, you know, my career. It's something far more precious, is that ability to access and trust in my intuition. And that's what I want to give to people that are my students. I would like you to be able to access and trust in your intuition. And when I first started reading tarot, I had no one to help me except my tarot deck and reference books. So very much like the person that wrote that email, you know, they're learning through books, they're learning through the tube of you. And I remember thinking to myself when I was first learning, I will never remember any of this stuff, and I will never be a true tarot reader. And I would cry about it. And I would quiz myself on memorizing the meanings in the little white book in a flashcard kind of fashion. And by the way, I would not recommend memorization as one of the tools. I mean, if memorization works for you, that's fine. But most of the time, memorization doesn't work for people. And they also get really, really overwhelmed. And then they get frustrated and they give up. And I don't want you to give up on your tarot learning. I really don't. So what I would do was I would memorize the meanings, or try to memorize the meanings in the little white book. And then I would pull a card. And then I would pull a card, and then I would go back to the little white book. And then I would do it again and again. I flipped from tarot card to book and back to the tarot card. And then I'd cry some more. Mm-hmm. And then I said to myself, I just wasn't going to get it. And then one day, I can't even say what happened. It all clicked for me. And I finally went from not knowing tarot, frustrated as all hell, to knowing it. And I wish I could bottle that moment for you and pinpoint it for you. The time that I went from I'll never learn this to I know this, I wish I could bottle it for you or put it in pill form and hand it to you. But if you've been with me so far, you already know that that probably wouldn't work, because you have to go on your own journey to learning tarot, much like I did. And your journey is going to look different.
Man, that I still don't know what happened. I don't know what happened between not knowing it. Like, seriously, it was like crying into my tarot cards, crying into my crystals, not being able to figure out this tarot stuff at all. Oh, my poor nose. And then it was one day and I knew it. It all clicked into place. And I don't know if you're there in your journey yet. If you're watching this, hopefully you are, or you're past that point and you can look back and remember that point in your journey. But like, please do. If you remember that point, or even if you don't remember that point, but you know, it was just like, there was this, before tarot knowledge and after tarot knowledge, and you just can't remember how you got from there to there, like samesies. Yeah. Ooh. So Fran's going to light a candle. Thank you very much, Fran. I'm also super, super stoked that Mercury goes direct on Sunday as well. Like, that is just, it's fantastic. It's just good. It's good timing. I feel good about this listing. And it's like, I'm just putting all of my good energy out there. And I will let y'all know about it after the fact, but I'm a little bit superstitious about it. So I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything quite yet. I don't want to jinx it, but I'm feeling good about the situation. And we have a little bit of advice here from Sophia. Put a copy of your current key cleaned in sugar with cloves. put on windowsill, charge in the moonlight, and then put the sugar in your coffee till you get confirmation that you got the apartment. It's an old Irish witchcraft thing from Cork. Huh, interesting. And actually, I think that's funny that it's from Cork, because I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I think my husband's Irish side of his family is from Cork. We didn't even make it into Cork. We stayed in Cove for the day when we were there back in August, and that was a fun time. We watched old MTV music videos in their version of like their Irish pub. I mean, Irish pub in Ireland, but you know, kind of redundant thing to say, but like we were the two Americans in the corner that were trying not to be asshole tourists, and then we were just watching and making fun of some of the other people that were coming in that we knew like must have been on our boat, and they were just like just not being good tourists. And we were just like sitting there drinking our Beamish and our Jamesons and making fun of them. It was fun. It was a good time. So that I'll do that, Sophia. Thank you. Oh, good. Okay. So Sophia's saying, I can't remember either. It was about 3 years into it that it just clicked, but you know what I'm talking about, where it was just like, didn't know. No, there was a click, but we just can't describe how it happened. And we also can't bottle it for you. Sorry. When you move and you use the leftover sugar to bake in your new place for the housewarming, throw a cookie outside to thank the she. I'm taking these notes. Absolutely. Yeah, I have some stuff. You know, I have my wards and everything up, you know, near the front door that I've got to go over as well. So lots of ideas. So while I'm listening to the podcast before I go ahead and release it tonight, I will probably do some of that work. Thank you. Fran says, is there a written collection of these tips, or is this just knowledge? Or is Sophia just dropping occult knowledge on her asses tonight? There is a bunch in the Duchess.ie archive. Mm-hmm. Yeah, .ie is an Irish website. Because trust me, when I one of the trips that we took was to a little town called Inistioge. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. If you're from Inistioge and I'm not pronouncing it correctly, please let me know, but don't come for me. Be nice about it. I'm trying. And it's known for being beautiful, like the most beautiful town. And I think it is where they filmed the movie Circle of Friends. It was very beautiful. And we ended up going to this pub and getting a Guinness there. And then I added, our tour guide was like frowning at me when I did this, but I had I asked for blackberry to add to my Guinness, because that's something that I was told to do or suggested the last time I was in Ireland back in 2012, and all the Irish lads were making fun of me, and I'm just like, what, don't you want some? And I was like about to pour blackberry into their Heinekens, and they're just like, oh, get over it. No, get away. So, but I had to do it, and I had to like kind of give a little like you know, have a little sip of that for, my Irish pagan cousins. So, but we were looking up I was looking up later the website for the Innisfree like Chamber of Commerce and the basically the pub that we were in. Um so and I was just like, "Oh, okay. .ie. All right. That's an Irish website." So, Irish pagan school as well, and good old personal gnosis or gnosis. I never know how to pronounce that. All right, are we ready for the mid-episode reading, which is probably more like a 3/4 of an episode reading at this point? Because I'm looking at the time. I jinxed myself again, guys. I told you it was going to be a short episode, and it has not been a short episode. But when we get into it, we get into it, right? All right. So to be considered for a live reading, you would comment in the chat once the lottery jar is up. So, lottery jar is up. Instructions are here. I guess I have to have the comment snake going at the same time. Let's try this again. All right, try again, everybody. There we go. I didn't realize that maybe we have to have both the comment snake and the lottery jar going at the same time for it to work. That's very sweet of you, Fran. But that's more time with you. I am a tiny bit selfish. No, you're not. You're not selfish at all. We can still do tapping, but maybe we'll do a little bit of tapping to the weekend forecast instead of the card of the day. All right, so we have Sophia entered. It looks like we have Fran entered. I don't know if Katie is still with us. I think so. I hope so. We were getting hit pretty severely throughout the episode with some spammers. So I hope y'all didn't fall for it. I've been trying to keep up with it as much as possible on my end, but it's not something I can do within the Be Live studio. So I usually have to deal with it afterwards. That's why I've designated certain moderators to be able to deal with it as it comes up. But it's a little bit irritating, gotta say. I need more water. Shall I show you the perfume that I'm currently obsessed with while we're waiting for more people to participate? I'm gonna. So this is an independent perfume company that has like all of these different stories. And I ended up buying some things for my sister for her birthday last year. Some like trial like drams of perfume just to see what she would like, give her a variety. But I wanted some like fresher scents for her because some of the scents can be a little bit cloying. And I know that she has some allergies to certain flowers. So I wanted to be able to find a scent that she would like, and appreciate, but also didn't have any like weird additives or wasn't too cloying for her. And so I ended up finding this company called Sucre Bay, and they have a Book of Face like community, which is really cool as well. And so I asked a bunch of people, you know, here's kind of like the perfumes that my sister likes or has liked before. Here's some of the perfumes that I've liked before, but I'm intrigued by like some of the names of these perfumes, whatever. And I got so many good recommendations that I ended up getting her like a set of 5 like different samples that are about like this big. And I ended up getting a few tiny samples for myself. And then I finally did an order because they were having like a Valentine's Day sale. So I ended up getting the 2 scents that I liked the most in the full size. So, and they have like entire stories that go along with the scents. So I wanted a kind of like a dupe for Terry Mugler's Angel, because it typically is quite expensive. But I really like that scent, and that's more for like fancy occasions for me because it's a very strong scent. It's like vanilla and spicy spices, and it reminds me almost like of a cotton candy kind of smell. It's really sweet. It's like a gourmand, I guess. So I ended up finding this one called Afterglow. And the back of it is scent notes, dark chocolate, amber, and honey. Who can resist someone who smells like a slutty s'more? So that's after. That's like the shortened version of the story, and it says read the stories here, www.sucrebay.com. It's very specific spelling there. I've been saying it wrong the entire time, so now I know the correct pronunciation. So that's one. And then this is the one that I've been wearing a lot. Like I kind of wanted one for special occasion and one for like every day. Yeah, slutty s'more. I love that. Me too. Mm-hmm. Love. Yep. Yep. And then this one's the one that I've been wearing every day. See the candles? And this one's called Fall in Love Whenever You Can. And it is based on the movie Practical Magic. So the scent notes is an herb garden with a large decadent rose bush, amber, and vanilla. And the shortened story is there's a little witch in all of us. But this one is it's yes, there's rose to it, and that's normally not my jam. It's normally not my jam for like rose scent, but like the amber and the vanilla kind of like offset it, and the herb garden also makes it smell a lot fresher, a lot cleaner. So it doesn't smell cloying at all. And I was wearing the sample like a lot when we were on vacation in August, and so like the scent just like reminds me of like that trip. And so it's just like I'm like every day I'm like and just walking along and thinking about that trip. So it's such a good scent. It really is. So Sophia's asking, so how does it work? Is it standard retail or is it like a sign up thing? ADHD checked out for 2.5 seconds. Well, the Facebook group is just you know, you can apply, and they're very nice. Like everyone's very nice, and there's like also like an indie perfume swap available too. But yeah, it's a website. It's just website sucrebay.com. Hold, please. So they have perfume, bath and body, and an indie marketplace as well. So there is a space for for people that are perfume creators, small batch perfume creators that you can sell on here too. Women owned and handcrafted. And you can build your own set of 5. So that's kind of what I did. But what I also did for like the Valentine's Day sale was at a certain order, like you got like this batch pick of all these tiny drams. So like they literally like they scoop up a bunch of tiny drams and they send that along. So like you get to see certain other different scents, and then of course it just fuels the fire even more to buy more scents, basically. But I started with a set of 5 roller balls in order to give my sister, and then I did like 2 sample drams of the Fall in Love Whenever You Can and the Afterglow, and then I ended up really liking those, and I got the 2 big sizes for my next order. Uh-oh. Ooh. Samples for $8. Count me in. You should really go for the Book of Face group because they're a really cool bunch. And I'm going to go ahead and put the link in there too. All right. Is it just Fran and Sophia that's in the crap. I jinxed myself. I went and put myself into the mix. Oh well. If it happens to come up as me, I'll just pick again. I'll just keep getting a winner until I get a correct winner. Anyway, the website is sucrebay.com. That is the spelling right there. All right, I think we're ready. Do we want to drum roll for the mid-episode reading? And I'm happy to use the Pulp Tarot as well. So when and if you get selected for the mid-episode reading, feel free to write in your question, and feel free to write in if you have a request for a specific tarot deck. I've got the Pulp Tarot right here, and I'd be happy to use the Pulp Tarot or just my standard deck. So, well, maybe you have a question that needs answered. I always have questions that need answering. I know people love to see me get called out by the cards on these live streams. All right, let's pull. Let's pick a winner. It's Fran. It's Fran. All right, Fran. Let me know if you want me to pull from the Pulp Tarot for your reading. I can do that. And let us know what your question is. Oh. Hello, Laura. Hi, you are awesome. I love card slingers. Thanks, Laura. Welcome. Welcome to the broadcast. That's so nice. It's so nice to see someone that's in the chat that's not trying to solicit readings. We have such a time here with like weirdo spammers. So I never know what's going on. Did you check out the newest episode with Nancy Hendrickson, Laura? That just went up today. I'm not going to start shuffling yet because I don't know which deck yet, because that is Fran's choice. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Pulp, please. Will I be able to get my new roof without working myself to death? All right. Well, I'm going to shuffle back in the Nine of Wands, which was our card of the day, okay? So ever remember that this was the card of the day. Awesome. So Laura says I have around 80 decks and an ancestral tarot book by Nancy Henderson. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I hope you enjoyed the episode that we did with Nancy that was released today. It was a really good one. All right. So Fran's question is, will I be able to get my new roof without working myself to death? And we're using the deck of the month for this month, which is the Pulp Tarot. Okay. You're not going to like the answer. You're not going to like the answer, Fran. Basically, you got 2 out of the 3 cards are major arcana cards. And the last card that's coming up is the 10 of Wands. So, you know, the whole, I think it's just, how do I put it? Even baked into the question is your anxiety about it. And I would suggest doing a little bit of tapping on it too, to make things a little bit easier, or allowing it to be possible for it to be easier than you expect it to be. Because I think in the phrasing of the question, it's just like, that is what you know. That's your baseline, is just like, to get this new roof, I have to work my ass off. I have to do this. I have to fall into bed absolutely exhausted, and to know that I am going to get this new roof. You know, like, it's just like, you have to reframe that mindset and allow it to be easier. Allow for the possibility that it's going to be easier than you think. And it's going to be, it may not look exactly how you expected it to look. That's my initial impressions for the cards that are coming up here. Now, I am going to, as I like to do with newer decks that I'm working with, I would like to go and read the companion book interpretation and then add on my impressions. But I kind of want to do a scan first and give my impressions first before I go to this, so that I am not unduly influenced by the words that are in this companion book. So the cards that are coming up: Emperor, the Devil, and the 10 of Wands. So that is, and it's just like, and it's all red. And you'll see, I'll hold up each of them as I'm interpreting them. But like, not every card in the Pulp Tarot is a primary red color. You know, unlike the Diablo Tarot that we had last month, that was all black and red and grisly looking and bloody, right? So the black and red motif on the back, you know, not every card is, you know, red. There's a multiple colors here, okay? But in this reading, it's very red. It's just splashed red across it. And I feel like that is also another aspect of the reading, is, you know, being in the red versus being in the black. Those phrases, right? Being in the red means you're at a deficit. Being in the black means that you're solvent, that you're even, that you have more, you know? And so I think that is also another underlying belief that's going on here that is causing the anxiety. Make sense? Let me know in the chat. So I'm going to hold each of these up in turn as I'm giving my interpretation first. Then I'll go back to the companion book. So you've got the Emperor card here. And the Emperor card in the Pulp Tarot, he's got some of the traditional iconography and symbolism of the emperor with like the throne and everything. And there's this suit of armor and like the colors, and the coat of arms has like the Aries ram on there instead of it being carved into the throne. But he has armor on, and he also has the body language is, it's just like he's ready to go, he's ready to clock someone, so this is a very like defensive brawler kind of emperor. It's very interesting. It's just like like this kind of like, oh, I'll kick your teeth in, like that kind of like energy is in this reading, which is interesting. And so I was just like, okay, like the emperor, it's just like it is this struggle almost for control, basically. So Fran's saying yes, that makes sense. Okay. So there is this need to control the situation, but there is this aspect of the situation that is not within your control, and it's not gonna be within your control. So with the Emperor card coming up as the first card, basically it's just like there is a time to step in and be aggressive, and there are some aspects of this that you do need to be a little bit more aggressive than you were initially willing to be, because it's just like, oh, it's not nice to be like that. Like it's not like you necessarily care what people think about you, but at the same time it's just like, ooh, they're like, this is not in my nature to like get up in somebody's face about it. But it's just like there's something about the situation where it's either eliciting that reaction in you, or it's just like it's gotten to the point of frustration where it's just like you gotta get up in somebody's face about it. But there all are also other aspects of the situation in which you're not going to be able to control. You're not able to control it, and you're not going to be able to control it. Okay? Then you have the Devil card. Now, the Devil card in the Pulp Tarot, again, the Devil card is one of the few cards that has like the additional writing on it, like very pulpy. So in here we have like the devil, and then we have the enslaved woman and the enslaved man. Very pulpy, very comic like, very pulpy like, but again, it's more about, it's weird. It's like such a deeper reading that we're getting here, where it's just like this can mean it, like it's almost like everything has a double or triple meaning to it, and every action has a reason behind it and then a reason behind that, and it's almost as if someone's playing this part of the devil. It's just like all right, I'll be the villain in this story, that's fine. And it's almost like this larger in life kind of character of a person, rather than just being a good person and just like, can you just relate to me as a human being, and like let's talk this out and hash this out. It's almost become this like weird farcical situation where it's like now you're just like you end up like having margaritas with your friends and talking about like this saga that's going on right now. And on almost in this like comical farcical situation, it's harder to take it seriously. And I mean, it's not to say that you shouldn't take it seriously, but it's also like the worst case scenario that you're catastrophizing into is not actually what's going to happen, you know? Like, I'm looking at the devil card, and I'm almost getting the sense of like the movie, like The Money Pit, The Burbs. Like that's like, it's like this weird dark comedy, and you're just like, what's going, like, where's the camera, you know, like where's the hidden camera here? So yes, like you have to work hard, but at the same time it's just like it's just ballooned into like this, like completely out of proportion, that it's just like you have to have a sense of humor about it or you will literally go insane. Okay. And then 10 of Wands, I mean, 10 of Wands is just like, you're asking, like, am I going to have to work myself to death to be able to do this? And it's just like, it's hard. It's harder than you realized it was going to be. But also, it's just like, you have to start letting yourself off the hook for some of this, because some of it is out of your control. And there's no, like, there's no equation of, if I work this much, it's going to equal all of this is resolved. You know, it's like, that's not, it's not happening like that. And you know it's not happening like that, but still it would be easier for you to be like, if I assume 100% of the responsibility, then I can feel a little bit more in control of the situation, then I can do something about it. But it's just like, but that's not the situation that we're talking about, you know? So that's my interpretation off the cuff, looking at these images. And I'm going to go to the guidebook for these. So Laura says, I love how you gave the power back to the querent through rephrasing. He is ready to joust. Throw down hammers looking emperor. Yeah. Yeah. You've gotta say what you see, you know, like no matter how locked you are into the emperor being the emperor, it's just like, this is not a stoic looking emperor on the stone throne. Like this is like a brawling looking emperor, you know? All right, so the emperor runs things. He's the guy in charge. He may not make the rules. It may be more of a case of him doing what he wants, and then that's the new rule. Ooh. It may be more of a case of him doing what he wants, and then that's the new rule. Just looking at him, you can tell he didn't inherit his empire, but created it himself, the old-fashioned way, through force. Is he a good emperor or a bad emperor? He's obviously strong and not someone you want to mess with, but is he strong for you or against you? He's draped in a red cape, but he has got a full set of armor on underneath. Because being at the top always means there's someone about to attack you. So that's the guidebook interpretation of the Emperor for the Pulp Tarot. The Devil. The devil is bad. Thank you. The devil seeks to enslave people. He may enslave two people at once via a bond of sexual obsession, or he may enslave individuals with all the tools of addiction at his disposal. The inverted pentagram on his forehead indicates that he is of the material world, but has twisted its delights for evil purposes. So that's another interpretation that we can add on to your question about remembering that the inverted pentagram, the pentagram when upright, is about the material world. And also, you know, think about the pentacle suit, right? Pentacle suit is about of the earth, it's of the physical, it's of the body sometimes too. as well as being financial. But when the pentagram is the symbol of the body, and the body is inverted, then there is a twisting, or perhaps a reversal of the upright meaning. So, but the devil itself, like, all of these cards are coming up upright. So remembering, like, the root of this is material, and that might be another thing that you need to think about. This new roof situation might be about material. It might be that you can't see all of the details yet. Sometimes details can be at work because of that, that phrase, the devil in the details. Sometimes you do have to look a little bit closer at the details, and sometimes you have to take a step back and look at the bigger picture, because you might be mired in all the details that you can't see the bigger picture because you're mired in the details. The devil in the details is the phrase I'm thinking of. And then the 10 of Wands. The journey of the wands is done. The spiritual staffs the journeyer has collected now weigh her down as she heads back home to her rocket ship across the sterile red desert of a hostile planet. The image suggests that the woman has been sent out into the harsh wilderness to gather fuel rods for the trip home. The good thing is she succeeded, but her success has come at a cost to her. She is headed home, but her burden is heavy. That's interesting. Again, that's a different interpretation. She's headed home. These are fuel rods. She's headed home. She's successful, but the burden is heavy. So that's your answer, Fran. Please go ahead and weigh in, and I hope this reading helped you. And I'm so glad that you chose to try out more of the Pulp Tarot, see if you like it. Exactly. Nothing comes without hard work, but you knew that already. But at the same time, it's just like, I still think that there's something larger, and like, just, it's like things like I really, the phrase I'm getting is like, it's a comedy of errors, but at the same time, there is a little bit of levity in there. And it's just like, just appreciate the levity and know that it's just like, it's gonna happen, but it's just like, but it's not gonna happen in the way that you previously imagined or thought. And I swear, there's a tapping that I'm like vaguely remembering from Gala that is just like letting it be easy. I think that tapping might really be helpful for you if you're into the tapping thing. If you're not, that's fine, but I'm into the tapping thing. I won't trade a new roof for a tarot reading. I wouldn't either. But trying out a tapping about like allowing it to be easier, you know, like letting yourself off the hook a little bit, you know, like finding compassion for yourself in these moments that have been frustrating, I think can really help you. I'm gonna look. Hang on. Letting it be easy. Ooh, this one's a good one. It's not exactly what I thought, but this one's on tapping for letting go of the need to learn things the hard way. Ooh. Okay. So I'm gonna cue that up here. I'm not gonna look at the whole thing. No, not that, not that. Let's see.
What's up, beautiful? Welcome to High Vibe Honey for the week of August the 27th, 2018. How are we almost at September? I don't even know what to say. I'm your host, Gala Darling, and it's Virgo season. In case you hadn't fucking heard, it is Virgo season. I'm all about it. I got a new robot vacuum cleaner. I have a robot mop arriving today. And I mean, there's nothing better.
Let's skip ahead.
I'm full, easier to be positive. And when you feel in your life, if you are not meditating regularly and doing things to reset your body and your mind, then you are playing yourself. One thing that I've learned recently is that the hormones of stress cause us to focus on the worst case scenario. When you're stressed out, the hormones in your body literally point you towards looking at everything that's going wrong and freak out about it and obsess about it, which is not that awesome. So this is a really important reason to meditate and do whatever you need to do to de-stress on a regular basis. Whether it's taking Epsom salt baths, whether it's yoga, whether it's exercise, whether it's laughing, whether it's meditation, I don't care what the fuck you do, as long as you are doing something to reduce the levels of stress in your body. Because when you reduce the levels of stress in your body, it's easier to be optimistic, it's easier to be positive, and when you feel good, your body can heal itself. You can see the forest for the trees, and you can make decisions that really support you and help you rather than dragging you down into the mud. So
Hold on. Did she just say you can see the forest through the trees? Did I just not say that in the reading? What? So Fran says that could be very helpful. I am too much about the hard way. So yeah, I would recommend doing this. Now I'm happy to run it on here now, but I can also send you the link. I mean, I'll put the link into the chat, but that's a great example.
Really, it's so important to look after yourself and do whatever you need to do to de-stress on a regular basis. Please don't neglect this part of your life. It is so important. So my final message for all three of these cards is to ask yourself, if you are in a quandary and you're like, I don't know what to do, what do I do? Ask yourself, is this action going to lead me to my desired outcome or not? Start asking yourself that all the time. It amazes me how few people really do this in their own lives. And it's the easiest way to decode your shit and be like, if I do this thing, what are the consequences? What does this lead to? What does this path look like in a month's time, in a year's time, in 10 years' time? That's why it's really important that we're mindful about our choices. You know, eating Flamin' Hot Cheetos every day right now might seem fine when you're like 22 years old and you have the metabolism of like a hornet. But if you look at this behavior and you continue to repeat it 10 or 20 years into the future, you're gonna look like a Flamin' Hot Cheeto. Same color and everything. And you're gonna upset people's digestion just as much. So really like map things out. Look at what the future holds. Tip from a Virgo. So what could we possibly tap on this week that would help everyone? Because I can't make these decisions for you and I can't hold your hand through the decision-making process, but we can let go of this need to learn things the hard way. So that is what we're tapping on today. Even though I feel like I need to learn things the hard way, forgive myself. I don't need to do that anymore. Repeating after me.
Let's do a little.
Even though I have this amazing habit
Even though I have this amazing habit
of learning things the hard way,
of learning things the hard way,
I deeply and completely love and accept and forgive myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept and forgive myself.
Even though I always have to do it the difficult way.
Even though I always have to do it the difficult way.
Who knows why that is?
Who knows why that is?
Maybe I'm just stubborn.
Maybe I'm just stubborn.
I definitely hate doing what people tell me to do.
And I definitely hate doing what other people tell me to
God,
do.
that is so annoying.
God, that is so annoying.
Why does everyone think they know what's best for me?
Why does everyone think they know what's best for me?
But sometimes this contrarian attitude
But sometimes this contrarian attitude
actually gets in the way of my life.
actually gets in the way of my life.
Sometimes people will give me blatant warnings.
Sometimes people will give me blatant warnings.
And I'll proceed anyway.
And I'll proceed anyway.
And I just end up creating more drama in my life.
And I just end up creating more drama in my life.
In fact, maybe this is about needing drama.
And in fact, maybe this is about needing drama
in order for my life to be interesting.
in order for my life to be interesting.
Needing to create problems where there really aren't any.
Needing to create problems where there really aren't any, or they're very small.
Because I feel like if I don't have anything to complain about,
Because I feel like if I don't have anything to complain about,
maybe I won't be that interesting.
maybe I won't be that interesting. Ooh.
Maybe my friends won't have anything to talk to me about.
Maybe my friends won't have anything to talk to me
That would
about.
suck.
And that would suck.
Maybe I learn things the hard way
Maybe I learn things the hard way
because I think it makes me more interesting.
because I think it makes me more interesting.
And it gives me something to talk about.
And it gives me something to talk about.
And when I have something to talk about, people give me more attention.
And when I have something to talk about, people give me more
Feel
attention.
significant.
It makes me feel more significant,
Which is a pretty shitty habit.
which is a pretty shitty habit.
I don't want to feel that way anymore.
And I don't want to feel that way anymore.
I think I want to give up my drama addiction.
I think I want to give up my drama addiction.
Don't tell anyone. Okay. I feel like this is going to be a big one for a lot of us, so let's drink.
All right, I'm going to pause it there. So I put the link in. So you can go and tap on that on your own time if you'd like. We did just do the setup statement together. And if you're feeling hiccupy or feeling a little bit barfy or feeling yawny or tired or triggered or teary, or I didn't think of that way, or no, that's completely not what's going on, you're probably on the right track. And I would also encourage you to get specific in your language when you're tapping. So I did a little bit of that while we were tapping along, only because I am, accredited through the Gala Darling method. That lady in the blonde wig, Gala Darling. So I have been trained to tweak some language there, and I've been trained to, follow the impulses and the intuition. And I have been trained in all of that different stuff for tapping. But I have learned when working with clients, when working with myself through tapping, the more specific you can get, the better. And follow those threads down. And maybe it's not that you're addicted to the drama. Maybe it's that you feel the need for control, and this situation is bringing up a lot of things that make you feel out of control, which makes you feel unsafe or uncertain or unworthy or scared, or pick the emotion that is most resonant for you right now around the situation. And then also I would encourage you, so she was holding up 3 cards, and this was back, she filmed this video back in the week of the 27th of August of 2018. That's actually what she used to do for a lot of the high vibe honey videos that she did, where she would pull 3 cards, she would talk about what the cards mean, and then she would find the thing to tap on in those cards. And I would encourage you to possibly do the same from the reading that I just gave you. What was the common thread in the reading that I gave you? What was the most resonant thing? You may want to tap on it and just see what comes up. You might not know what words are coming up until you start to say them on your tapping on the side of the hand, and just keep going through all the points. But that one, tapping on not needing to learn things the hard way. And then I think there's another one that's around the same phrasing on allowing it to be easy, or releasing stuckness, or releasing, like allowing it to be easy, I think was like the phrase that I heard. It might not have been the title of the tapping, but it's like somewhere around there. I would try searching for that. All right. I might save that one. Actually, it might already be saved in my tapping videos, my playlist that I've sourced. Let's see, saved playlist. Yeah, that's already one of the tapping videos in my EFT tapping videos playlist on the Tube of You. So must have liked that one, must have resonated with that one. So you're very welcome. You are very, very welcome. All right, let's do the weekend forecast. And I am feeling that we need a little bit of the Work Your Light Oracle, because I am feeling, maybe I shouldn't have tapped on air, because that is starting to like allow my nostrils to flow again. So let's do this really, really quickly, and then I'll let you be on your merry way for the weekend, and we can celebrate Mercury going direct. Let's see. There's the crawler. Okay. And I need dinner. I didn't realize what time it was. I'm like looking at the time. I'm like, ooh, hungry. All right. What do we need to know for this weekend? What do we need to know for this weekend? I'm hoping I get like a home card in honor of going to see this new apartment. What do we need to know? Ooh. So we are getting Lemuria, creating heaven on earth, and it's happening. So one of these cards is in the places or the transmission. Yeah, transmission card, I think. Wait, transmission card? I think it is. Yes. Transmission cards are cards that act as initiations and transmissions, connecting you to the energies that want to work with them in the current time. Connect us to other realms of support, wisdom, creativity, consciousness, and healing. Okay. All right. Lemuria, or Mu, is one of the Earth's lost lands where heaven really was a place on Earth. A time before we were kicked out of the Garden of Eden. In Lemuria, life worked in harmony, all beings were seen as equal, and we were deeply reverent to Mother Earth. We knew that a mosquito was no worse than us and the sun no better. Perhaps you too believe that heaven really can be a place on Earth. Perhaps you are part of the transition team who, at a soul level, are devoted to creating this kind of harmony on the planet now. Thank you for wanting to do this work. It's easy to get overwhelmed by the state of affairs on the planet right now, but you are being encouraged to keep holding the clear vision of the future. It is closer than you think. You may be guided to hold the frequency of Lemuria in your own community, family, workplace, or within yourself. Know that it is possible, and while at times it may feel like you are alone, you truly are not. There are hundreds of thousands who hold the codes of this ancient lost land, and even Lemuria crystals that hold the codes of remembering that are beginning to rise all over the planet. Keep doing what you are doing, and remember, the only way to heal the world around us is to first heal ourselves. So the transmission is, I hold the codes of Lemuria and believe that heaven really can be a place on Earth. That is a pretty powerful weekend energy, and I wish that for you. I wish that for all of us this weekend. Let me go ahead and put this down over here. And yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. We covered a number of different topics, and I really want to get this podcast out tonight, but I might have to honor healing myself first because my nose is about to run away with me. So maybe tomorrow, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, but it's already up in some form on the Tube of You. So it's not like I've completely abandoned y'all. You can definitely listen to that episode by watching that particular Tube of You video, episode 36, I think, of the Tarot by Hilary podcast. But we do this every Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I hope to see all of you again, same time next week. If you have any suggestions on upcoming episodes that you want me to do, any topics that you want me to teach, feel free to let me know. I'm open to all of your suggestions, but I do, of course, have final veto power, as always. And until then, I am your hostess with the mostest, Hilary, professional tarot reader and EFT tapping practitioner, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friends, do not argue with me. You have intuition. If you'd like to book a reading with me, you can do so at my website, tarotbyhilary.com. That is Hilary with one L. And I also do tapping sessions too. So until next time, Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Good night.